Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Boss Rush Podcast, a great place to play games and be better. I'm one of your hosts, Corey Deering, and alongside me, as always, is the PC muscle race himself, LeRon Dawkins.
Hey, what's poppin'?
Hi, LeRon.
How's it going?
Looking awfully fresh tonight, LeRon. I
heard, Corey, you did a little bit of happy hunting over the weekend.
Happy hunting?
That's the catchphrase at the end of every Monster Hunter stream. That's done by the production team. Happy hunting.
Oh, I did not know that, but yes, I did indeed hunt. I wouldn't say happily, but I did hunt. So I have some qualms, LeRon, and we're going to talk about it later.
Okay, good.
But right now, we have to let everybody know that there's other people here. Also here is the Mad Pharmacist herself, Stephanie Klimov.
Hi. You know what I don't have qualms for?
Choo Choo Charles.
Well, that and the fact that the Switch 2 will have backwards compatibility.
I know. Breaking news as of 20 minutes before we started recording. So
yeah, but obviously by the time the listeners hear this, it'll be old news, but that's okay.
Nintendo news is always fresh news. And
it's always announced at the most bizarre time and situation.
Yeah. Speaking of bizarre, PK Power Pack Klein is here.
That's right, and I happily hunted as well.
All right.
You know, I'm happy for you. You know, I talked a little bit about it on the last episode of Nintendo Pow Block about I want to like it, and we'll get into the reasons why I like it and why I don't later. But yeah, this is great. This is great. We are here for episode 250 of the Boss Rush Podcast. This is episode 150 of this iteration of the show. For those of you who have been listening long enough, the first 100 episodes, we had no idea what we were doing because we didn't know where we wanted to go with the show. And the cast changed 750 times. So it's fine, though. I'm glad this is where we're at. And we appreciate everybody out there who's been listening for, 250 or one episode. If this is your first episode, welcome. We're about to get crazy.
Freaky.
Yeah.
By the way, if you're listening to this in the future, it is election night right now.
Yes.
If there is a future.
We will have our qualms about that another time because we have to celebrate 250 episodes, LeRon. We don't have time to talk about.
We're not talking about the election tonight. I just want to make everyone aware that this episode is being recorded on the United States election night.
Yes, it is.
So for our friends across the pond, and folks out in like in all stretches of the world.
On us.
I know, because the United States has proven to the world a couple of times here in the last decade that we're full of fucking idiots. But back to episode 250.
But we're not all idiots, please. We're not all idiots. Most of us are, but not all.
Well, I'm an idiot, but that's a story for a different day. But I'm happy. I'm happy we're all here. I'm glad we all got to do this. I hope everybody enjoyed Ed and I's anniversary episode last week. We kind of do one around Thanksgiving every year, and so we decided to do that. And we had some productive meetings, and we had some great talks, and I'm just happy that we're all here, and this is going to be a good time. What else is a good time? Patreon.com/Boss Rush Network, where you can support the Boss Rush Podcast and our family of shows, where you can get the pre-show for as little as $1 a month, as well as early access to Video Game Book Club, exclusive expansion pass episodes, and a whole bunch of other things. If you are a patron, you might have seen the letter I wrote to the community about streamlining stuff in 2025. because of, not just schedules, but also, there's new things, old things, and then there's a lot of things that are kind of similar that we are just gonna push together. So, yeah, I'm very happy of where we're at. I'm very pleased. But if you can't support us financially, that's okay. You can subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/Boss Network. You can leave us a nice review and a rating on podcast services like Apple or Spotify. Also, I've been integrating ourselves into Good Pods recently, which is like this small kind of podcast delivery platform, and they are very good people. So I recommend, if you're looking for a new pod app, you should check them out. They are good people. They are nice people, very friendly. And Nintendo Power Block was put on their top Nintendo podcast list, which we're all very grateful for. And
That's awesome.
looking to see if we can get some of the other shows up there. So yeah, and then you can find all of our content on bossrush.net. Our daily banters, our reviews, listicles. Find out about other people who contribute, who are not necessarily on the podcasts. And yeah, very, very excited about a lot of things. So website is giving me a headache, but that's okay. Not the people, the actual building, rebuilding, retooling, fixing, all that stuff that I've been putting off for too long. It's not giving me a headache though. Is all these listener questions we have. And we're going to answer them first because we have quite a few. And I feel like we all have a little pep in our step tonight, and it'd be good to use that pep on these questions.
Let's
We're not going to talk
go.
about stuff yet?
No,
The,
there's
the
stuff.
stuff that we're doing?
We could, but I want to answer questions.
But what if we have awesome news to promote?
What do you have, Pat?
Oh.
Huh?
Damn.
I mean, our friends over at SideQuest, the SideQuest podcast just released my episode.
Oh, Pat wants to promote himself.
Yeah, I want to promote the shit out of myself right now. I've been
Pat.
doing things.
Yeah, that's those side quest episodes that we're all on. Ed did one, I did one. You just had one come out. They're all on our website as of the time of this posting because they're not there yet. But yeah, good episode, Pat.
Thank
Space
you.
for the Unbound.
Yep. And we've had changes in book club. If you've noticed, we've been putting polls now for everyone to contribute to. And it's a very fun race to watch. So
yeah, that was a good decision you made, Pat, of taking it off of Patreon and making it happen for everybody, because we were not getting a lot of use out of that perk. No offense to the patrons who were using it, but it just was a better decision. So good decision, Pat.
Well, thank you. And finally, I also introduced a new co-host by Twitter, but I'm going to officially announce her here on the podcast. Jess Taylor, a friend of the podcast who's helped us with one of our book clubs and has been a guest, will be co-hosting the book club with me going forward. So expect some good, fun conversations in the coming months.
Nice.
Yay.
Cool. Yeah, I'm excited to see what games are coming up. I know Life is Strange and A Space for the Unbound are next.
Mm-hmm.
In that order, right? That order? Yep.
In that order.
Everybody better vote for Indiana Jones too, because I would like to talk about that game too at some point. But we can always talk about it without book club, I guess, at some point. Anybody else have anything cool coming up they want to promote or out? Stephanie, your interview with Warhorse Studios is out of control. What are you doing?
Magic, witchcraft.
Yeah.
No. Toby's a great guy. Great interview. Stay tuned for more. I kind of blew through my initial lineup, and now I'm working through kind of my next set of interviews. So maybe another week or two, I'll be able to let you know what's in the pipeline.
Cool. Cool. LeRon, you got anything cool coming up besides
really?
your workout TikToks and whatever you're doing? don't know.
Has something been published that I don't know about? I've kept those pretty private. I'm not ready to thirst trap y'all yet.
I don't know, I'm pretty sure I read a tweet of yours that said that if Kamala Harris wins, that you'll give whoever likes your comment free sultry photos.
Wait, what?
Yep, I saw that too. Right there on Twitter.
Yep. Where?
Musk doesn't lie, man.
My account was hacked.
Yep.
My account was hacked. I'm blaming the Russians.
Oh God.
Well, we'll be expecting some nitpicks later.
Actually,
careful what you wish for.
According to work, it's actually the Chinese right now who are hacking us pretty hardcore. So you should blame them.
Oh yeah, we're pretty vicious.
Not you. I mean, like the people who live in China.
Oh, don't exclude me. Gosh, everybody's trying to exclude me from my people.
Gosh, I'm just gonna stop before I get in
Just kidding.
real trouble here.
Hey, you know what? My son's father is Russian and I'm part Chinese, so we're like the ultimate.
Oh my God, y'all are spy family. Jesus.
Now that I just said that out loud, the FBI is tuning in.
Yep.
They made an anime called specifically for your family.
Yep. Anyway, sorry.
Oh boy.
I like these shorts. Oh, they're available in 5-inch? Yes, they are.
Wow.
Huh?
Wow.
I mean, because
while you fondle your shorts, LeRon, I need to get through something real quick. Ed and I will be interviewing Daniel Posner from Finish Line Games next week. Again, I really wanted to speak with him, at PAX, but just time and everything. So that's coming up, and Way Forward is coming back at some point. I'm just trying to nail down a schedule, and then we're gonna have some creators on for spotlights that that we should be more involved with, and trying to involve more guests and more people, and we're doing our best. We're doing our best. So, all right, I guess we could talk about what we're playing now. Is that okay with you, Pat? Are we done? Are we good?
I suppose for this week.
I'm just pulling your chain. Questions. Remember, you can write your questions in our Discord. Join the Discord, the Bosphorus Network Discord. And you can also leave a comment on the most recent YouTube channel. We're not putting stuff out on Twitter anymore because, I think it's easier to kind of shove everybody into one place or two places instead of 75. So join the Discord, leave a comment on YouTube, and write in, just like Marine Gamer 1289 wrote in via YouTube comment. LeRon, you missed this a couple weeks ago when you weren't here. I think Marine Gamer likes you. He likes your arms, likes your sleeveless stuff.
Awesome. I am so sorry I missed. Did y'all explain the reason why I was out?
Because you were pooping.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, getting ready for a medical procedure. Yeah.
By pooping.
Yeah. Marine Gamer writes in, you were the eggplant to his peach or something.
No, the peach to his eggplant.
Yeah, that.
Is that his handle on Twitter?
It is a YouTube comment.
It's a YouTube comment.
Damn. Marine Gamer.
I wonder. Might be able to suss this out. I work in IT. I might be able to suss this out.
Oh no. Marine Gamer writes in and says, I'm moving away from consoles and building a new PC, and my console play will solely be a Steam Deck and Switch or Switch 2. 2 questions. It's been so long since I even attempted to build a PC, but where do I start? And do you think PC gaming will be the standard in the future?
Well. It tickles my pickle whenever I hear anyone talk about that they're moving away from consoles to get into PC gaming. So I already like this question. All right. Console play will solely be on Steam Deck and Switch. Now, I do have building a new PC, but solely on Steam Deck and Switch. I had to make sure you're not just limiting yourself to like the Steam Deck, because like if you already know, like Steam Deck has its own little batch of issues. Like my buddy Andre Wilson found out over the weekend that the Monster Hunter Wilds beta did not work at all for the Steam Deck and stuff like that. So yeah, there's some headaches in there. Corey has waffled on whether or not he should get Steam Deck versus a ROG Ally, even though like all he has to do is say the word go and he has a ROG Ally. But yeah, like because Destiny, you know, like there's some pros and cons to Steam Deck. So I'm glad you're not just exclusively like being Steam Deck, even though I love portable gaming. I love portable gaming. I mean, that's why we have these damn things now. You know, I love it. But yeah, okay. So to answer the second question first, do I think PC gaming will be the standard in the future? I say yes. The reason why I say yes is because console gaming is getting more and more expensive now, and we're getting a lot more diminishing returns on it. Now, that does not mean that console gaming is going to go by the wayside, but eventually, if you look at the cost of budgeting for video games and stuff like that, consoles are basically going to wind up in almost like the same space as like PC gaming. Now, PC gaming is always going to have an edge because like he who has the most money will always get the best experience, you know, in gaming and stuff like that, and that's where console gaming kind of like has its middle ground. So yes, I think more and more over time, and you know, like Jensen Huang, you know, all the stuff he's doing over in Nvidia with like AI and RTX and all this stuff, and Lisa Su with AMD, with the Radeon lines, and of course like the Z1 Extreme chips and all that stuff. You know, console gaming. I feel like I'm sorry, not console. I'm PC gaming. I feel like PC gaming is in another renaissance, and it's wild because I feel like PC gaming has like renaissances every 10 years and stuff like that. It's a wonderful time to be a PC gamer. Yeah. That being said, the headache about PC gaming is like knowing hardware and having money and stuff like that. But guess what? Like, you know, like first of all those people are saying they can build a PS5 Pro for like $750 and stuff like that. They're lying. They're lying. They can't get you the exact same experience. They can get you close to an experience, and guess what? You have a machine that's more versatile to do other things besides just play video games and stuff like that. But yeah, I think PC gaming will be the standard in the future. Sony right now, I feel like Sony's battling itself right now because Microsoft is basically like they're not. It's not a white flag they're waving. I want to say they're waving a yellow flag right now or something. You know, like they're putting everybody in caution for the fact that you know, like Microsoft might be bowing out of consoles within like 2 generations. You know, that's the conservative prediction.
My thought on that real quick, LeRon, before you continue,
okay,
with Microsoft in particular, is that
okay.
I think that they're going to attempt a remember when the Steam boxes were a thing for like a hot minute and then they weren't. I think they're gonna attempt that. I think the ROG Ally is actually a test bed for them. I think they want to do what the ROG Ally is doing and be able to have multiple stores, and they want to have an Xbox that boots up like a PC, but you can have your Xbox stuff there.
I think
the only
Yeah.
reason why they haven't right now
Mhm.
is because they put so much effort into backwards compatibility and it does not work on PC right now.
Yeah.
Like the 360 and the original Xbox stuff.
Well, yeah, it's because like those consoles were not on the x86 platform. Now that consoles now are on X.
Are they not?
Okay. So without really like killing everybody with like the nerd talk and stuff like that, they were using x86, but the x86 just was not jiving properly with the actual like PC architecture, particularly around gaming. Because like you gotta look at it, we have OpenGL, we have DirectX, and all this stuff, and honestly, now in the age of Windows 10 and Windows 10, Windows 11, and all that stuff, like DirectX is basically where like all the gaming stuff happens, all the gaming and all the graphic stuff happens, for the most part and stuff like that. So back then, like, yeah, backwards compatibility, because like consoles using specialized engines and stuff like that to make these games work, and that's why PC ports were out. I feel like PC ports have always been subpar, but we had a time where like PC ports were like in a really good place in the like last 6 years. They were looking really good compared to their console counterparts and stuff like that. Now with like frame generation and all this stuff going on and stuff, like it's kind of like messed everything up. That's why Monster Hunter Wilds apparently, if you hear everybody talk about it, was playing bad, and I'm not going to accuse anyone's computers of being a potato, but but ultimately, like now we've got companies like Capcom who have not put a focus on PC gaming until Monster Hunter World that sold 25 million copies worldwide and stuff like that. Now all of a sudden they want a piece of that pie, but they just have not stuck their hands in it correctly. Because if you look back at it, like Devil May Cry 5, which is like one of the best Devil May Cry games, it came out on PC and it had problems, which is why like you got the Devil May Cry, like the whatever came out on PlayStation 5, that version is technically not out on PC. Like modders have to do that thing to make Devil May Cry 5 do what it does on the PlayStation. But yeah, I digress though. So it's kind of wonky. Like console, when you look at all the different architectures that console had, especially like PlayStation with the Emotion Engine and the cell and the cell, what was it called?
Cell processor on PS3.
The cell processor. Okay, yeah, the cell processor and all that stuff. Good stuff for the limitations of the hardware. Now I say limitations because PlayStation and Xbox teraflops can't match like Nvidia and AMD teraflops as far as graphics cards go and stuff like that. So that's what I'm saying. I'm not shitting on consoles. I'm not, but I do feel like that PC has always been this outlier that's always like, you know what? Like I'm 5 steps ahead of you, even though I'm on the outside, stuff like that. So yeah. I think PC gaming will be a standard in the future. I'm gonna say the future's not now, but as more and more of these handheld PC platforms, get more, I'm going to say both streamlined and more user friendly and stuff like that, because the Windows experience is kind of crazy, but also Linux experience is kind of crazy as well. Steam Deck versus all the other PC handhelds. And these other devices that are out there are basically emulation engines that have their own proprietary like software code and all this stuff, and that makes it hard to do the things that you do. Like, you notice no one's really like hacked any of that stuff to like take it outside of what it should do. But yeah, all right. So where do you start with getting into a PC build and stuff like that? I'm gonna say like specifically look at your budget, look at what you want to get out of it, and stuff like that. Now, do you want the top tier gaming experience? I'm going to give you a couple of benchmarks that you need to figure out. Do you want to play Cyberpunk 2099 at 4K 60 with full RTX on? That's gonna be some money. Do you want to play 1080p like competitive shooters like Destiny, Overwatch, Valorant, stuff like that? That's a different tier. That drops the budget down just a little bit. Do you just want cinematic experiences? Basically like either 4K 30 frames per second or 1440 60 frames per second, something like that. That's another bracket. You got to figure out where your gaming tastes lie as far as like how you want to get out of it, and then that determines your budget. That way not to overspend or underspend on something, because like the worst thing you want to do is buy a super crazy graphics card like an RTX 4090 or and then like have everything else subpar, especially like a power supply. If a power supply can't push your motherboard and your graphics card, you're gonna have a bad day. Your CPU can also be a thing, because one of the things we found out with Monster Hunter Wilds, is Monster Hunter Wilds is very CPU dependent, meaning that Capcom decided that the resources should be pulled from the PC's processor versus the graphics card, which the graphics card for any system is a workhorse. So you're gonna basically you got to price out your graphics card and your CPU first, and then figure out what you want to do with the rest. That's about the best advice I can give you so far as that. So like figure out what games you want to play first, then do just a little bit of research, find out what graphics card is going to get you either the best bang for the buck or exactly what you want to do and stuff like that. Given that I work in IT, as soon as I have an opportunity, I always upgrade my graphics card and stuff like that. So, I know I just basically gave super long answer to like a question, but this isn't the most simple question, especially for a guy like me who builds PCs for a living and stuff like that. So uh, as always, at Exodus803 on all my socials. Head over to the show notes. You'll also see how to get in contact with me via Gmail and stuff like that. If you have any questions, I will be more than happy to help you out. And that's just not for you, Marine Gamer 1289. That's for anybody out there that's looking to get into PC gaming and stuff like that. I'm a nerd, and I love to nerd out about this stuff. And I will fill your mailbox full of a whole bunch of useless junk to get you on your way.
Hmm. Hmm.
I love it. More of those questions, please. More of those.
Nerd.
More of those. Should bring back the Crossroads show. Xbox, PC, and PlayStation.
Maybe you should. Bye.
See ya.
Anybody have any thing to say about this besides LeRon?
I'm not an expert in it,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Skip the headache. Just stick with consoles.
Yeah, and that's the big reason why I think
consoles bring their own headaches into it. And I'm not just talking that on a PC on from a PC perspective, because like I hear console gamers all the time talking about some of the things they wish their consoles could do, in the gaming space and stuff like that. Like they want VR to be more powerful, stuff like that. They want to be able to introduce mods and stuff like that. Into the gaming sphere and stuff like that. Like sometimes quality of life stuff is the biggest thing that breaks someone's faith in console gaming.
There are mods on Xbox and PlayStation.
There are, but they're not as abundant. It's not like you can just run the Nexus mods and every single game that's out there, on console, you're able to throw mods in there. Now, I love the fact that like Activision Blizzard with certain games, like they support the modding community across all platforms and stuff like that. Nintendo, not so much,
Yeah. Well,
Nintendo looks at everything foreign you do as you're either hacking or you're pirating.
Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah.
That's why user went away.
Yeah. Well, don't steal games. Moral of the story. I think because consoles are easy to plug into your TV and sit under your thing, I don't think it's ever going away.
Oh yeah, no, I don't think consoles are ever going away either. But the landscape of consoles are definitely going to change. It might not be what we thought the PS5 and the Xbox Series, leap was going to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Next question from our longtime listener, Sam Hall, via YouTube comment. He says, "Hey, everyone. Congratulations on 250 episodes of this podcast. What a milestone and a pleasure it's been to listen to you every week. I can't believe it's been that long already. I feel like I've been listening to most of you for a long time. My question here is this. What is the one thing you don't do on this show that you wish you did? And what is one thing you want to improve? Thanks for answering my questions. Cheers to the next 250. Oh boy, one thing we don't do on the show.
I wouldn't say we don't do this on the show ever, but what I would love to do more of, because I think it'll bring spontaneity, is play some more games. Not video, like not like play more video games. I meant like 20 questions or back of the box trivia, and it doesn't have to be forced every single time, but every once in a while, just to kind of throw it in there and mix it up, I think would be kind of cool. And a thing to improve would really be for myself is to get some more fucking energy. I don't know how to get that, but it's a goal of mine.
Well, Stephanie, I'm glad you brought up the game thing because I have been working on some new game ideas to play at least like
Whoa.
maybe like once a month, maybe every 3 weeks or so. So we've already done video game 20 questions, right? Which we'll continue to do. We've done some back of the box trivia, but we will continue to do more of that. I just have to prepare for that. But I've also come up with OpenCritic or Metacritic ranking game where you rank the top 5 games in a series by Metacritic score, but you have to guess which games in that series are in the top 5.
And up first, Mario.
categories. That'll be fun. So, I'm brainstorming some games because I too would like to play more games on here. It's just preparing for them takes a while, and I just sometimes run out of time. Um, but yes, I do too want to do that. LeRon, what about you? What are you aching for on this show? I think we just did it.
Bacon for some bacon.
Ooh,
Yes.
bacon.
Actually, yeah.
Like bacon.
Monetization.
Oh, there you go.
Bacon, yes, yes. Bacon, cheddar. Yeah, monetization. Yeah. Honestly, yeah. I feel like I don't know. Um I really can't say because like I feel like I'm still trying to like navigate the world of like podcasting and actually creating like content and stuff like this. There's over the years I know the stuff that has worked and stuff that hasn't worked. Yeah, like for example, sometimes like there are certain topics of shows that basically I've learned along the way are just like unnecessary filler episodes because like we look at the analytics enough and find out like exactly where like our listener base is dropping off at. For example, um, and I'm not throwing any shade at anybody out here, but
Mhm.
I feel like when we have a video game show and we're talking about food that we're eating, in this actual segment of the show, like that kills it. Like if you go to my YouTube channel and you look at the Crossroads podcast, you'll see we stopped doing that around episode 55. Some other things that are going on, like and this is something I learned from actual user feedback. Like a lot of times like people are actually coming to the shows, like a good majority, but I'm not going to say the overwhelming majority are coming to the shows looking to hear how we feel about video games and the stuff that goes on in the sphere and stuff like that. So sometimes like the random talk about like like the stuff that is our life and stuff like that, we wound up with suggestions saying, hey, can you kind of like move that to a different show, like not necessarily like the focus show and stuff like that. So yeah, like we do a lot to listen to everything that goes on with our listeners and our viewers and stuff like that. So one thing that we don't do on the show that I wish we did, it's hard to say because I feel like we've done some of everything on the show. It's all fun. I'm not the best at the game section, so like whenever Corey's like bringing like that 20Q and back in the box trivia and all that stuff, I feel like I just flounder on it because even though I played a ton of games, like like I only have like a small regimen of games that just stick in my brain as like the greatest or the ones that I need to keep track of. So yeah, not the best answer I had for you guys, but like 250 episodes of the Boss Rush podcast, and I feel like I've been around for about 150 of them because I know for sure like when I came on, like we hadn't even hit 100 yet.
Yeah, I think your first episode was like in the 40s or 50s. I think we
Yeah.
found that out at
Yeah,
some point.
so I've hit basically the major milestone episodes: 50, 75, 100, 150, 200, and here we
Only
are.
shows up for the party.
That's all right.
Classic LeRon.
I am the hype.
Hmm. uh Pat,
Yo.
what are you looking to improve?
I mean, I would definitely love to see more games on here. Like what we were talking about earlier with Steph, like more trivia and more like just fun stuff.
Mhm.
Uh, Maybe also just more random topics. Like we talk a lot about technology, we talk a lot about news segments, but like we don't necessarily go into like themes of games or like I guess like favorite or things that we like enjoy. I don't know, just like celebrate like the video games themselves in a weird sense. Like, oh, what's your favorite games that involve dragons and things like that? Just interesting. Like,
Zelda.
yeah,
Zelda has dragons now. I
Zelda's
guess they
always
have for
had
a while, but
dragons.
I guess they have for a while.
The very first Zelda boss was a dragon.
Yeah.
hmm See, we could get into a discussion like that. Talk about the evolution of Zelda dragons.
Hmm.
anyways, that's just some of my thought. In terms of things that, what was the second part of the question? Things that we want to improve.
Want to improve?
I guess I kind of answered that in the same answer.
Hmm.
So my improving is different, like variety of topics. I'd like to see more games and maybe more conversation on the games that we played, and in the sense of it doesn't seem one-sided, like questions or banter about it. I don't know, but I
Yeah.
guess that's hard because we don't necessarily all play the same thing.
Yeah, which, I mean, in theory that would probably help a lot if we were all like decided, hey, this is a game that at least half of us should play this month or something, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to force people to do that, but I do agree that that would probably make more sense in terms of a conversation. Um, so, well, I guess it's my turn now. For me, I think the one thing I wish we did on the show, man, I don't know, because we've tried a little bit of everything at some point or another on this show, and I think we've kind of found a rhythm that works. I would like to continue to try to incorporate stuff from the website into the show. Um, I know the last few episodes it's been kind of hard because we've talked a lot and had so many questions and multiple other things. But that's something I would like to continue to do, and kind of incorporate. The other thing I think what I'm trying to do, at least mentally, is better direct the conversation in the show. Like, instead of us talking over each other, when I'm asking the question, I'll be like, Stephanie, what do you think of this? Or LeRon, what do you think of this? Or, you know, instead of like all of us trying to talk at once. I think that's something that I need to do better as a host. And then I'm, the behind the scenes stuff, just kind of clean stuff up and edit better and that kind of thing. But that's stuff people don't see. So um, improving. Let's see. I guess I kind of talked about that. I don't know. I think we're actually in a really good spot relatively. I mean, we could clean some stuff up for sure, but I think especially after our meeting the other day, I think we've found a pace that works, and um, you know, probably starting next week, because this is a celebration episode with questions, but we'll get into a better pacing next week with everything, I think. So all right, our next question. Stephen Myers writes in, what are the most traditional things podcasts do that you don't like? What are the biggest tropes that don't serve a real purpose?
Oh, I mentioned this in the last question.
Man.
Hmm.
Um,
You guys might be more well equipped to answer this because you've been in the podcasting game longer than I have.
um, so this is, I'll go first, I guess, because this is 100% contradictory to what we just talked about. But I hate when shows put time limits on their shows. Like, my favorite gaming podcasts are anywhere between 2.5 and 5 hours long. Are the shows that I
Jeez,
listen to,
Well, there's a
and
that's a
difference
long
between
time.
listening
This is
to a
what
podcast.
this is why you don't have time to play video games, because you're spending 5 hours listening to people talk about playing video
I'm not
games.
I'm not sitting there like a dummy. I'm doing stuff. It's
Yeah,
listening to a podcast is a
you
passive thing. It's not a.
yeah, but
It's not like I'm.
you can't play a
It's not
video
like I'm
game at the
staring at
same
my
time you're
phone
listening
like
to a
this,
podcast.
listening to the podcast on my phone, like staring at the little bar fill up.
All I'm just saying is no, actually I don't know what I'm saying. Like all I know is like it's not like I have like the attention span of a freaking gnat or something, so like that, because I can listen to some long form podcasts myself. But normally I feel like they start to drag on once they get outside the hour 20-minute mark.
I think it just depends on how good the hosts are to keep your attention, also, right?
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I mean that's the one thing that really irks me on shows when they're like, "Oh, we got to wrap it up. We've been going for this long," and I know we do that too. And I'm trying to stay conscious of everybody not wanting to do a 3 or 4 hour show like Ed and I do sometimes.
Yeah, some of
um,
us like sleep, so we appreciate it.
Exactly.
You and
It
Ed,
all
I know you don't,
depends.
but
Like,
Here's the thing about it. Like, go actually go Stephanie, because I did not mean to cut you off. I'm sorry.
no, it's okay. I mean, I'll just summarize it as it depends, right? There certain if you got the energy and the chemistry to go for a long time, that's what she said, then that's great. And like that's where I said like maybe if you cut me out of this grouping, and I'm not saying that as like a hint or insinuation or anything, but I'm just saying for example, if you were to cut me out, you guys would probably have a longer podcast with a lot of energy. I'm the one that's kind of like
No,
flickering
that's
and
not
fading
it.
and I
No,
don't
that's
know.
not it at all, Stephanie. Because like I tell you what, okay, so some behind the curtain stuff here for the Bosphorus podcast recordings. We usually start on Wednesday night, on Tuesday nights, and our usual go time starts at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So and we've got people who live in various parts of the country and stuff like that, so that time is a little bit different. But normally by the time, because I'm over here on Stephanie and I are over here on the East Coast. Normally by the time we
you
get to
all are
that,
on the
like,
East Coast.
huh?
You all are on the East Coast. I'm the only
Yeah,
one
because
that's central.
you're central. Yeah, technically, because Corey technically is Eastern, even though it makes no sense how like Ohio's Eastern, but
I didn't
whatever.
pick. I just live here.
Yeah. But anyway, basically what I was trying to say is I can't speak for Stephanie, but I usually know when I start looking at the clock and it's starting to get past 11 p.m., that means been on the recording for 2.5 hours by that point. And so like that. And I just get antsy because like I have really tight hip flexors and stuff like that. I just cannot be sitting in a chair that long, so like that, I need to stretch, and also I'm tired. Like, you guys are probably seeing this recording alone already that I've yawned like 5 times and stuff like that. But it's also because like I'm sitting in a chair and I sit in a chair for my job and stuff like that. So it just feels like I'm doing my job and stuff like that. So sometimes the mental stimulation is just not there. And plus I have to be up at like the ass crack of dawn because I go to the gym at like 6 in the morning. Yeah. So I mean, so yeah, there's some behind the curtain stuff. What goes on here? So, and I don't even think it's the fact that like we're trying to get out of here. I guarantee you, if we move this to like Saturday afternoon, like start recording at 11 o'clock in the morning. We could probably do those 4 hour shows and be done by like 3:30 in the afternoon and stuff like that.
We used to do that.
We used to do that,
Um,
yeah.
but then I had to go
Life
have
got
a
life got in
second
the
kid,
way,
and
someone had two kids.
bad idea. Yeah, that was a bad idea.
How's that vasectomy going?
What do you mean?
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, kid number 3 is on the way.
It's not mine.
So you're saying you're just a really chaste man? Is that what you're trying to say?
It is not mine. We're moving on. Adam Gumbert. Would everybody answer that question?
I think we
Everybody
did.
answered? Yeah. Okay. Adam Gumbert from Respawn Aim Fire writes in. Um, what is your most underrated game series that you love?
Let me open up Steam right now. I was not ready for this question.
Well, there's some
Pat,
other ones that you can think about, or unless Pat has something, because it's like a three-way question. Sorry.
I was just going Pat's way first because I know he plays a lot of games, and I'm sure there are a
Right.
ton of games that
Pat,
he.
go, Pat, go.
Oh man, I was also looking at a question we had a little bit down the line, and it's kind of in the same boat. Um, hmm, underrated game series that I enjoy.
I'm not
I
good with.
personally love the Picross series, which is a
Mm,
puzzle game.
yeah,
Which is why it's very underrated in that sense, because not many people, when you people want to play video games, they want more action in their games. But like whenever a new Picross game comes out, I always see myself buying it. I will usually put at least a good 20 hours into it before another one comes out, and then I end up doing the same thing. These games literally can suck up about 30 to 40 hours if I try to complete them, which I would have more games completed if I didn't include my Picross games
Mm.
in my life.
Well, Picross is a good puzzle game. No,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't think anybody blames you for liking Picross. It's a good pick. It's a great
Yep.
pick.
Uh,
Every time I see it though, it reminds me of Minesweeper, and then I just get very scared to play.
See, I love Minesweeper as well. That was always
Mm.
something I'd play during high school.
Mm.
When I should be writing reports, I would be playing Minesweeper.
That Minesweeper, and there's also that pinball, the space pinball
Mm-hmm.
game.
Space
Yeah.
Pin.
I don't know. I'm not very good with over and underrated games because, unlike Hat, I'm not as cultured and have not expanded to a lot of franchises yet. Don't get me wrong, I've gotten better and I've played a lot, but mm, I might have to wait to see if anyone else has.
Stephanie, get cultured. Gosh.
I know, I know. I love almost all my video games. Is that or there are like standalone games, um, and not a franchise that I can comment on in that manner.
That's
Anybody else?
LeRon, I feel like you got something. I feel like there's something there. Some
Um,
weird classic series that nobody may know about.
I wouldn't say series, but but like one game that jumps out at me is remember Sleeping Dogs?
Mm-hmm.
Great
I feel
Mm-hmm.
like
game.
that game. I feel like that game did not. I feel like that game did not get its full due. I feel like that. Um, Let me see. Another game that I can think of would probably be. Actually, I can't. No, it is underrated, even though like it had a nice surge thanks to the Russian Ukraine war. This war of mine, like like that game got a nice resurgence because basically like they were throwing 90% of the sales like when Russia decided to try and invade Ukraine, they threw 90% of all the sales into like the effort to uphold and defend Ukraine. Um, what else? Trying to think of some other ones here. At one point, I would have said Alan Wake, but Alan Wake is having a nice renaissance.
Mm-hmm.
What else we got? I think those are the only ones that are really like sticking out to me in my mind right now. I know there's a few indies out there, like I feel like Kena Bridge of Spirits like was one of those ones that we talked about and then we stopped talking about it for whatever reason. Um,
Yeah.
Yeah, like the talent behind the development of that game, they're good, and I really because they were actually an animation studio, like was doing like real like animation for like TV shows and stuff like that. So like the fact that Cannon Bridge of Spirits came out and it was their first game, like doing first video game like this, was amazing. Um, I think yeah, I
I
think
got one. I got one. I got one. I'm gonna piss off so many people only because I put a comment on one of my Nintendo Direct bingo cards and people came at me for this. But I think Kirby is overrated.
Kirby is overrated.
Not
I don't think
not
that was
getting
the
the pushback.
question.
Yeah, it
No,
was
what?
underrated games.
No, over or underrated. I thought it was a slash.
No, what
Oh,
is your most
oh,
underrated
underrated.
game?
I saw the
Underrated
slash
game
and
slash series.
dang it!
Take
Because
your
this whole
take
time I
your
was thinking,
opinion back, wench.
dang
Jeez.
it.
Wow.
Oh, wow,
That
that was
felt
that.
that
Whoa, that
felt
was a
violent
heavy.
real fast.
That was heavy.
Don't you be talking
Uh,
about my Christian pink puff the way you did.
I feel violated a little bit. It wasn't even directed towards me. Um, man,
This
I think the game that comes to mind off the top of my head is a lot of the Mistwalker games. So Lost Odyssey, Last Story, Not necessarily Blue Dragon, but mostly
You think
Lost
they
Odyssey and
you think
Lost
they were
Ark.
underrated?
I don't think a lot of people played them.
I feel like people didn't shut up talking about those games.
Um, I don't think those games got a loud voice until the internet, until social media existed, and then suddenly everybody pretends to play things. And
That's
I
okay. That's
think
fair.
especially like speaking as an Xbox fan, um, a lot of Xbox fanboys came out of the woodwork when backwards compatibility was a thing and said that everybody played that game. I'm like, dude, that game sold like 100,000 copies. Not one of you played this game.
Well, the Xbox 360 was not an RPG, was not known as an RPG machine.
But they tried.
Exactly.
That's the problem, is that they tried. Like they had, Eternal Sonata, they had, the Mistwalker stuff, they had
Magna Carta 2.
yeah, Magna Carta, they had
Wait, I don't even, I don't
they
even
had an
remember
exclusive
Magna Carta.
they had an exclusive Tales game, which was a huge thing for
They
them.
did. Vesperia was exclusive for
Yeah,
a long time, and
yeah.
it's
So
considered one of the best ones.
yeah. Which I mean now it's on everything because it got remastered, but like that was a big deal for them to get an exclusive Tales game here.
Remember when they
Um,
got Final Fantasy 13?
yeah, they got the marketing for
Yeah,
Final Fantasy.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean that was I mean it wasn't for lack of trying, but I mean you could say that for a lot of things that Xbox does, and then they step on rakes, and I don't know, they they need some help. Phil, call me. I'll help you. I know what to do. I guess it would be Satya now because Phil's just a face now. It feels like, oh, rip
And then
Xbox.
and that stupid jacket.
um, Second question. Hold on, where is this at? Best interaction because of the show. And he says, for example, seeing Adam at PAX counts, not Roger though. So, Roger. I like Roger.
Stephanie's gonna like my answer.
Okay.
Mr. Dan O'Mac.
Yeah. Absolutely. Oh, I scared my cat.
Come back to us, my man.
Yes, we
He was
love
here the
you.
week you weren't here.
I mean, it does not count.
Sure does. He
Nope.
he he answered the call, and
Nope.
you
I'm
couldn't.
actually nope. That episode is going to be archived off of bossrush.net. So if you hadn't seen it now, you're not seeing it.
It's fine. Pat, what about you? What's your best interaction because of this program?
You know what? I'm gonna have to go with 3. Ben Starr.
1, 2, 3.
Yep,
Okay.
I have to go with
Okay.
Ben Starr at the Starbucks, which would not have happened if it wasn't for this podcast.
Mhm.
There was an interaction I had with Jenny Wisdom and Lala from Toge at PAX, and like seeing those two like all like fangirl over each other was like exciting, and me being the one that brought them together was made me smile.
Pat's a
Um,
matchmaker, everybody.
yep.
Mhm.
I'll just leave it at that. Those two.
Hmm. Stephanie, what's your favorite
Well,
interaction?
next to Dan, my buddy Dan, I have two. One was, I think it should be obvious, was when we were able to have Nick Apostolides on the show.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, and just such a cool guy. Such a cool guy. And also John Calderon from Angry Demon Studios. So he's head of Angry Demon Studios. He was one of my spotlight interviews, and hands down, he was probably one of my favorite interviews. It was just very natural, flowed well, really excellent personality. Got to know his studio, got to know the game that we were promoting, Gory Cuddly Carnage. I don't know, I can't help it. Just like my interaction with him really stuck out in my mind. So shout out to you and your team, and also for your launch of Gory.
Yeah, the game. I don't know. You talked about it on you've been talking about it for so long, but you talked about it on Palblock last night in particular, and I'm like watching it and just looks insane. The game looks crazy. I guess I don't know. I don't know if there can really be just one. I just feel like we've been doing this for so long that it's hard to pick one at this point. Um, but I mean, we've met so many people, right? I mean, we've met so many great people throughout this, especially in the last 2 years, I guess, year and a half, 2 years, and I think PAX East will probably go down as one of the most memorable times of meeting people, right? Like, I mean, I met, Cog, who was on the show, and we've become friends since then. And I met the old Giant Bomb guys, which was like a huge highlight that Pat made me do, and I'm glad he did. Um, we talked to Major Nelson. I met him twice, so that was really like it's always really cool to talk to him. And even PAX West, meeting people at PAX West was cool. Like, I met Kit and Krista and Greg Miller and, a whole bunch of other people. And that doesn't even count all the people that we've met just trying to do what we're doing, and just, there's a lot of cool people out there doing stuff. Um, it's, it's really hard to pick just one. So, last question from Adam. Man, we have so many questions. Do you have your game of the year or top picks of the year already in mind? Actually, I do. I don't know what's going to beat it. I mean, there's a couple that probably could, but I think so far right now, Hellblade is my game of the year.
Okay.
Um, so I mean, that game really resonated with me in a way, and kind of just really, was something special for me. So, LeRon, do you have your game of the year picked out? Tekken 8 DLC?
Wait, what?
Monster. I said Tekken 8 DLC.
No. Actually, no, I don't have a game picked out yet for game of the year. Like, I'm still playing around with stuff, and technically, anything that I would say is game of the year is games that have been releasing on PC that have already been on console for like a year or two already. So, I feel like right now I don't have any bona fide like game of the year contenders. I have to look at my Metacritic draft real quickly to see, but I'm too lazy to look it up right now. As far as new games go, yeah, I can't really. Yeah, I don't really have one, and I haven't started Dragon Age: The Veilguard yet, so I can't even throw that out there. Brothership comes out next week. Well, wait, this week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
brother.
A few days.
Yeah,
Yep.
but but it feels like it's getting middling reviews.
Only
Um,
IGN is giving it middling reviews. It
I
that's
thought it was.
the out.
I thought it was going. I thought it was going to score higher. I think Open Critic has as like an 80, like overall.
Most people are rating it between a 9 and a 7.
Mm.
And because of outliers, like I think it was 2, IGN and someone else said 5.
Now normally, because I read IGN's review on it. Now, normally, I don't really take IGN that seriously because IGN is also a company that for the longest time, Monster Hunter was getting like threes and fours out of tens, and all of a sudden, Monster Hunter World comes out, and all of a sudden, it gets a fucking nine, and I'm like, what? I'm like, this game's been like 7 plus like for years. What the fuck is wrong with y'all? But you know. But I did read some of what IGN said. I did read what IGN said about it, and some of the things I can kind of see why they said that because like we've got an 8-year-old piece of piece of hardware, that's still pumping out in the games like it's brand new.
Yeah. Who else?
Well, I would say my I don't really quite have a game of the year yet. Um, Final Fantasy had it for a long time, but I recently beat Visions of Mana, and I very much enjoyed that one too. So I got to do some thinking. Who
Hmm.
knows? Maybe something else will jump in. There's still plenty of months left.
There is still a lot of time. Um, Stephanie,
Yep.
game of the year.
I have my Metacritic draft just in case I'm missing titles, overlooking titles. My initial knee-jerk reaction was going to be Astrobot, to be quite honest with you. But after okay, this is the debate about whether or not remakes count, but if remakes count in this world, Silent Hill 2, hands down. If it counted, that's my vote. I'll submit it. Don't even need to think about it for the rest of the
I
year.
would
It's
consider
just
that one the count because
Mhm,
they didn't just remake that 1-to-1. That game
mhm,
was like remade
yeah.
and
I am
improved.
100% mail that in. That's not because no other games were awesome. There are a few good games that I haven't touched yet. So that's just, asterisk. But for the games that I've played and from the lists that I've seen, I'm mailing in Silent Hill 2. It's fantastic.
Nice. Is that everybody? That's everybody, right?
Yep.
All right. All right. Let's get through these questions because we got other things to talk about here. All ages of geek writes in. We met them at PAX West. Why are you all amazing? That's a great question because I
The
mean
answer is Stephanie.
look at this face.
Oh,
Um, we just are.
Mm-hmm.
And what's your favorite Shrek movie?
2.
1.
oh my gosh, Pat, high five. Who is the best?
Yeah.
Nah, 1.
Yes.
Come on.
Two. Two.
Come
2.
on. Come on.
Two.
The Muffin Man. Come on.
Nope. Sorry.
Wow. Okay. I'm
I
gonna
need a hero.
not answer this question.
That one was good. That one was good, yeah, but nah.
Oh man, I love it. Oh, now I want to watch it
I,
again.
I
I'm gonna
usually
force my son to watch it with me.
I usually like a good sequel, but I feel like maybe I need to rewatch Shrek 2 because I love the hell out of Shrek 1, especially at the end, the whole like Sir Mix-a-Lot thing at the end. Oh my god, like I was dying. Like I had to rewind that. I had to rewind that on the DVD like 3 times.
All right. Moving along.
Corey does not answer this question.
I hate Shrek. I think Shrek fucking sucks.
God
So we're gonna
damn.
move on.
Tell us how you really feel.
Well, listen, I think Shreks 1 and 2 were fine, and after that they started making a bunch of real other crappy iterations of it. I understand that.
Be fair, I have not watched any beyond 2. I think I've seen parts of 3.
I think I've seen parts of 3 as well, but yeah, I kind of I feel like it kind of lost its luster on me after 2.
I was trying really hard not to answer that question. It just kind of blurted it out. I'm sorry, everybody. I disappointed a whole probably 90% of our listener base. It's fine. All right. Mary Helen writes in and asks, if you go back and tell yourselves one thing as you started episode 1, what would it be? Well, I guess everybody just picked the first episode you were on instead of the first one because
Just relax. That would be what I would tell myself. Just relax. Because I know for sure, like I was like, man, like the very first episode of Crossroads was like, in my head, I was like, I feel like I'd be more comfortable walking in traffic than hosting a show of people that like I'd only known for like a week or two at best, and it wasn't even like we were having like steady conversations all the time. Like if I'm being honest, like I like Logan. I'd only known through two other recordings on the Bosphorus Network. Nelly was brand new. Brody was my boy and stuff like that. But we just never had a chance to like gel the way we should and stuff like that. Yeah, and also like I I wasn't unnatural to it. Let's put it that way. Like, now I can actually run these shows no script. Basically, I have a script just to keep myself on track and stuff like that, but I can basically run these shows no script now and stuff like that. Back in episode 1 of the Crossroads show, oh god, like you could hear me like I would stammer over my own words because I'm trying to read. I'm trying to read my show notes as I'm actually hosting the show and stuff, and just relax.
yeah. To be fair, I still tell myself that every day. So, I I still feel like I am an unnatural host. I feel like my position on POW block actually is where I fit better. As like I always felt like I was a better, I guess, simple terms, I guess, would be like a better Robin to Batman or something, like a better secondary host than a lead host. But here we are. I don't know. But I would
I
just
think you just have
say
imposter syndrome.
maybe. I don't know. I don't think I'm very good at anything, so maybe that's it.
I'm gonna strangle you, Corey. Anyway,
It's
Corey, that
another.
means you're great at sucking at everything.
Well, yeah, that's true. That's Pat. I'll give you that one.
There you go.
For day one for me, I mean, I haven't been in the game very long here. I think it'd be similar to you, is just, or the comments of, relaxing, being yourself. But not only that, but maybe just speak up more, because my issue in the beginning of many things is that I don't talk enough or speak up enough. Probably because I also have the imposter syndrome, and I feel like I don't play that many video games, so I don't feel qualified to be on a video game podcast. I should have just let that go and just said my opinion, but that's kind of how I transform it to the next question, where I know we're getting there, but I just feel like, you know what? If you've started a podcast, or with a group starting a podcast, go all in, go full hog, say what you need to say, unless it's something hateful, then don't start a podcast at all. But you know what I mean? Don't have imposter syndrome.
Yeah. I would also say if you're just starting a podcast, know that your first 8 to 12 episodes, maybe 20, are going to be bad.
Yes, I have heard that.
Until you find a rhythm that works for you, and a set that works for you, and just know that it's going to take a while to find a groove. But
Yep. All right. I would say in episode 1, you know what? You're going to be meeting some really cool people by continuing on to this journey. Like, that's at first I didn't think podcasting would get me anywhere, and I've met so many awesome people from all over the world because of doing these podcasts. And what I would tell someone who's starting out in podcasts, honestly, just do it because you are having fun. Like, I would not go into this thinking that you are going to be super successful and raking in all that cash, because be honest, most podcasts don't do that. Honestly, I would say, like, just have fun with that. Don't think about like the numbers all the time. Just enjoy your co-hosts and have fun. You're basically recording a conversation with your friends. That's how I see this.
mm-hmm.
I don't even see us recording. You know what? I doubt we're recording right now.
You're right. I just say we're doing a podcast to, have an excuse to have friends.
See? And that's what podcasts are for.
Yes.
Because once it becomes more of a chore, it ain't fun, and everyone can feel it. Axel.
Yeah. There was something else I was going to say too, but I guess have a plan, but know that plan is going to change probably 4, 5, 6, 7 times over the course of a couple months. So maybe even a year or 2 or 7 or 10 for me in January. So, oh gosh, I'm fired. Let's see. Do you have any favorite episodes? Do I have a favorite
Holes.
episode? Holes. Yeah.
Sorry.
Does that have to be specifically Boss Rush podcast? Because I mean, episode 50 of the Crossroads show is like still one of the best. That's the first time Nick Apostolese appeared on the network.
Yeah.
And that was also back when I did a lot of production value behind the shows, like as he was doing his thing, talking about his experiences, like doing the games and doing mocap and voice acting and all that stuff. Like there was actual in the background, behind all of our images and stuff. Like we actually had like actual like gameplay from the Resident Evil 2 remake going on and stuff like that. Kind of like highlighting some of the best parts that he did as Leon in the background and stuff like that. When Uncharted's anniversary came around, like we had this big, like Corey, you were on that episode because we had this big like talk piece. You, me, Austin. Who else? There was fourth. Was Nelly on that one? I can't remember if Nelly was on that one specifically. But yeah, like that was another one. High production value and stuff like that. Basically talking about not just Uncharted one, but like Uncharted up to that point there've been four games because Lost Legacy. Well, four games because Uncharted, because I'm not including Lost Legacy or Uncharted 4. Uncharted 4 was in pre-stage for release, so I was including Golden Abyss for PSP and stuff like that. Um, yeah. A lot of my favorite stuff has been the Crossroads show, so I guess that's kind of like me, kind of like tooting my own horn and stuff like that. But Crossroads actually happened because of the Bossers Network and stuff like that, and that's why all the episodes, whenever you watch the intros real quick, it always says partnered with the Bossers Network.
I think my favorite episodes are the ones that we got to do in person this year, to be honest. I know LeRon, you weren't there, but I think there's just a different cadence and a different vibe when you're in person. And I think it really does change the way the show feels in a lot of ways. And I think we did some pretty good stuff while we were together. So that would be my pick, I think. So
Favorite episode? Oddly enough, even though I suffered towards the end, I think it might have been Pow Block though. Was it episode 300? The one that was like 4 hours long?
Yeah, that was a
It was
bad
pretty,
decision.
but it was really fucking hilarious and fun. So I loved it.
Oh, that was quite the episode. We did
I
our
enjoyed
top
that one.
30 Nintendo games of all time, I think, which took a lot longer than I expected. Not gonna lie to you. So
Yeah, it was a good episode.
yeah. All right, next. Let's see here. Where are we? One True James writes in. You can recommend one game that people probably haven't played. What is it?
Danganronpa.
I'm going to throw one at you, Pat, that you'll probably be surprised that I even played. Doki Doki Literature Club.
That is very impressive.
People should play that. Not what you think it is. That's all I'm going to say.
Mm-hmm.
So.
I don't think many people, well, I don't know, I shouldn't say that, but at least within our community, I'm not sure many people have played it, but I recommend The Legend of Tian Ding. It's a side-scrolling action game based off an actual Taiwanese folk hero, almost like a Robin Hood of Taiwan. And it just takes place in Taiwan when it was occupied by the Japanese in the early 20th century. It's a lot of fun. It's got like this comic book art style. Um, it's an action game, slight Metroidvania, but it's not super Metroidvania, veiny, I don't know, whatever at all. It's a whole lot of fun. There's like a ton of lore. So if you're into lore and culture mixed in with your games, I don't know, I highly recommend it. I'll be honest, I didn't get to finish it because games, but I ordered a physical copy so for the Switch because I had played it on the Steam Deck. So I plan on hopping right back into it. So I highly recommend Legend of Tian Ding.
Nice. Who else has a pick?
I feel like more people should have played the game Catherine.
Yes, Catherine's a
Catherine
good one.
full body.
A whole additional cat.
It's actually Ren, sir. Anyways, and then what is your favorite demo from Steam Next Fest? I don't know because I don't have.
Yeah, I can't contribute to this, and I'm a proponent of Steam. That's the crazy part. I can't contribute to this.
Yeah, I can't either.
Like
Sorry.
I stay in a very. I hate to say this, you know, being an actual personality on a podcast show that talks about video games, but I have a very narrow lane I like to stay in when it comes to gaming.
Yeah, yes.
I did not watch the latest one, but I know two people or groups, developers that I've been in touch with that were on it, and that's Scalisco with Corgi's Cozy Hike, but also building relationships. I believe that made it to Steam's Next Fest, so I'm looking forward to both games. So I have no problem recommending those.
Nice. If you want to see how you can become a Patreon producer, head on over to patreon.com/BossRushNetwork. The Patreon producers for this month are Adriel Munger, Austin Campbell, Celeste Roberts, Christian S., Sana Deering, Francisco Santillan, Matthew Keel, and Todd Oxtra. Thanks for your continued support of the Boss Rush Network. And then I'm going to save this next one for later / next time because I know we have been kind of recording quite a bit. But I mean, we do have thoughts on Monster Hunter. Oh wait, that is our last question, isn't it?
That is the last question.
Oh, great. All right. Well, let's talk about what we've been playing. I think 3 of us have played Monster Hunter.
I think you're correct in that statement.
Yeah, I think that's a very safe assessment.
Yes. How do we feel? LeRon, you're the Monster Hunter expert. I'm going to go your way first.
Okay.
I have questions, but I'm going to save them.
I thoroughly enjoyed the demo, and I had to do something I don't normally do, and that was like play with other people. Now, what I mean by that is I'm typically I'm typically a solo hunter, because in all honesty, I feel like sometimes like other hunters get in my way, and that's not me being like mean or even selfish or whatnot. I kind of like doing quests at my own kind of pace and everything, and sometimes, you know, like if there's no communication, which a lot of times there isn't, if there's no communication, like it feels like everyone's just like stabbing at the same spot, you know, stuff like that. But that being said, you know, like a lot of people I dealt with that I ran quests with that were randos and stuff like that. It was a good time. And I think we were all just basically trying to, you know, deal with the stress test environment, because like I don't know how I feel about those 100-person lobbies. You know, that shit was crazy, in my opinion.
Yeah, with all the people in the camp, like while
Yeah.
you're just trying to pick up a quest or whatever.
Yeah, like that gave my ROG ally fits. My PC, not so much. My ROG ally was like, holy shit! Like whenever I would load up on the ROG ally, I immediately had to get out of camp and like just go to one of my mini base camps out in the map to do what I need to do. But yeah, Wilds, in my opinion, is it's a new evolution of Monster Hunter. Like, you know, like I feel like I said that with both World and Rise, but you know, like it's a new evolution that feels very familiar. I'm enjoying the changes in the combat. I feel like there are some things, because I'm still actively playing Monster Hunter World right now. Like I returned to World, you know, like once the announcement for the teaser for Wilds happened and stuff like that. And there are some things that I've noticed that I'm like, come on, like guys, this is in-game stuff in Monster Hunter World. Why isn't it here in brand new Rise? And I'm like, I hope you guys are not. I'm sorry, the brand new Wilds game. I hope you guys are not waiting for an expansion to bring some of this stuff back, because I think that'd be doing a disservice to the community.
Oh, you know they're doing an expansion.
Huh?
You know they're doing an expansion.
Oh, I know they're doing an expansion. That's the trend for Monster Hunter ever since Monster Hunter 1 back in 04. But yeah, I love the combat system. I think Pat, you're probably with me on this. The combat seems the more streamlined it becomes, the more natural the combat feels in Monster Hunter, and I love that. You know, I do know this. I can tell because like I can tell every time I play like a demo of a Monster Hunter game, there's a lot of stuff that they were holding us back from doing and stuff like that. You know, there's just some things that you know is like, come on, like this, we know how this is supposed to naturally happen. Why is it not happening and stuff like that? But overall, like I toppled every monster every boss monster that was available in the game. So yeah, for everything from the Dashigama to the Raidal to the I keep forgetting the name of the worm boss. Which I was like, man, I don't know how I feel about the worm boss. But the worm boss actually was a really cool fight.
That was a simple one.
The Balahadra. I think that's the name of it. Yeah, the Balahadra, the Balahara, the Doshigama. What was the horn toad's name? Um, something Cabra.
Chupacabra. Yeah.
Chotacabra. Chotacabra. There we go. And Raydal. Raydal, in my opinion, was OP, but I also think it's because they restricted us to what armor we could use. I really think that's what it is because
I did not have issues with that fight because its moves are telegraphed pretty well.
That's the thing about Monster Hunter though. Like every monster has a tail. Every monster has a tail for every single attack they're doing. So
Like,
you know, like
and a lot
if
of its
you're
attacks were always going forward.
yes,
So it's like
yeah,
just dodge out of the side.
where no
Mhm.
my thing about it
Nice.
was my thing about it wasn't so much like the actual it wasn't the combat. It just seemed like we were being handicapped because of like the weapons and armor they gave us.
Hmm. Yeah, no, I the thing I really like about this new combat system, well, there's two things. One, the ability to switch weapons mid battle.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, I also like that they tied it that you have
You
to be on your mount to do it
yeah.
because the weapon's on the mount. And also, I really like the focus. The focus.
Focus is focus is I like it, but I also feel like there's some I also feel like focus needs a little bit more refinement, if that makes sense.
Uh, I don't know. I mean, I like that it brings more attention to the actual monster, so you're not just swinging wildly. And I also like just the sheer damage and power of your hits when you hit the
When
wounds.
you hit a wounded spot, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, that is one that's definitely one thing I can say is a welcome addition to the combat in Monster Hunter because it feels like because I mean, you know, like the in previous games, the only time you knew that you were doing something right is when the monster either flinched, staggered, or fell, you know. That's a but now with wounds you can concentrate on this and you're getting more openings to like really like get in there and like, you know, like tear down on the monsters and stuff like that. Of course, I'm pretty sure, like you know, like they're once you get this is going to be a base game, so I know for sure that you know, like once we get into like an expansion game where like the G or the master rank stuff happens, you know, some of these monsters are going to be working through their wounds and like finding ways to fuck you up.
Mm-hmm. Now I'm kind of curious how the gameplay is going to go because they didn't have the ability, like you didn't take quests from a board. Your quest started by finding the monster and striking it a few times.
Yeah,
Then you got the
yeah.
quest. So I wonder, like, if that's going to be the measure of how they're doing it. Like, are you?
It feels kind of MMO ish, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, whereas Monster Hunter was a game for like 20 years, you know, an action RPG parading like it was an MMO, like it feels like they actually grabbed something from the MMO landscape for this, you know, because like I, I also feel like we need more monsters. Like, you know, certain monsters attack on sight and stuff like that, you know, like in the history of Monster Hunter. Whereas all these other monsters just kind of running around until like you actually like started swinging something at it. And then it was like, oh, hey, we're going to fight you,
Well,
you know?
yeah, the monsters do feel more aggressive. Like the fact that they can destroy side camps now. And
Yeah.
I also like that your hub is tied directly to the world. Like there's no loading screen. It's just you walk out of your camp and
Yes.
you're in your hunting zone.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah. I didn't have enough time to play around with all the weapons that I wanted to. But like Gunlance felt so good. Like Gunlance, I'm a Gunlance main, and Gunlance felt so good to use. Uh, Charge Blade, I felt like I was like lacking, and I'm pretty decent with the Charge Blade, and I didn't get, and I even played around with the light bowgun, which is my other, that's actually my claim to fame weapon. That was the game I played the entirety of Monster Hunter One with. I played nothing with but a light bow gun because at the time I was not the best in melee.
Mhm.
Solo hunting turned me around from a melee from a range to a melee person. But yeah, uh, monster design is great. When we were seeing like the build ups to it and stuff like that, I was like, man, I don't know about some of these monsters. It wasn't until that spider, like that the spider with the poofy fur, like I was like, oh, that's a cool monster design, you know. Um, but yeah, I love how immersive the environment is. When I say immersive, I mean like anything in the environment you can use to attack the monsters. Now, I love it.
Yeah, I did recall like grass all of a sudden popping up and like entangling the barrier
Yeah.
guy. Hmm.
Or you can actually dictate when the vine traps work now. It wasn't just you mount them and then you pray that the monster like ran towards a vine trap because it's shaking you off and stuff like that. You can actually like get them into a vine trap without having to like go through these acrobatics to get them there.
I think the game is incredibly beautiful. I think it's one of the best looking games I've ever seen. Honestly, especially in a multiplayer space. Um,
You're just saying that because Elma's hot.
I uh, I don't even know who that is, so I couldn't tell you.
The girl with the glasses.
Hmm, okay. Um, I
You're
think
pretending he
I
doesn't
mean,
know.
Capcom has always had a great character creator. Um, I think this is, yeah, I mean, I think this is just as good, if not better, than World. It's, I think I think there are two things that really bother me about this game, and this is coming from an Xbox kind of console player's perspective. There is a lot going on the screen at one time, and I'm not just talking about characters in the lobby. I'm talking about what is going on with this HUD. Like there is so much going on the screen. Um, there's just so much going on this in this game and this HUD that I'm just it's
Would you be shocked to know that the HUD in Monster Hunter Wilds is what the gamers of Monster Hunter always wanted the HUD to be?
good. I mean, that's good. I mean, if you got to cater to the players that are going to be playing this for years at this point, right? So, um, and then the other problem I have with this game is the controls. The controls are awful. Like there are just I feel like I know this is an RPG and kind of taking MMO hints and whatever, but like I feel like if you're going to be an action-y RPG, like there are so many other games that do action and have. I just feel like there's already a standard for action, and like this game just decides to throw it all out the window and do different things. Um, I hope they allow you to customize your controls when the game comes out on controller, because if they do, then I will be playing this for a long time. And
When
if
you
they
say
don't,
customize your controls, you mean like button mapping?
yeah,
You could have done that. You could have done that in the beta, but okay.
I did. I went through all the menus. There is no way to do it on Xbox. There are some things you can change, but there's no like button mapping on Xbox. Um, there is on keyboard and mouse and keyboard. I saw
Mhm.
a lot of
Yeah.
it, um, because they asked me if I was using a mouse and keyboard, and I said no, I am not. Um, but I think the controls are really not good. Um, but other than that, like I enjoyed going out on hunts. I enjoyed, riding the little bird thing that kind of flies around, right? I think the monster designs are fun. My son liked the big lion, is what he called him. I don't know what it was, but it's like this walrus lion looking thing, and they kind of traveled in herds. Um, I liked I really enjoyed teaming up with other players to see what they were using. I was using the dual knives or
The dual blades.
yeah, dual blades. And the secondary weapon I picked was like a ranged gun, the heavier one, not the smaller one that was offered. So, um, like I said, I think the weapons are cool. I think the game just looks amazing. But I mean, RE Engine is just an amazing engine. Um, but my two biggest gripes were the HUD and the controls. So I, I do I want to I really want to like this game because in theory I do like the game. And I do like the fact that it's crossplay finally.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are my thoughts, I guess. Um, on that. I played quite a bit of it though. I was shocked at how much I played of it because the Destiny Alpha for Destiny Rising also came out this weekend, and I played that as well. But I thought I was going to play a lot more of that than this, and I did not. So, um, but yeah, that was my experience. I liked it. I liked it. I want to love it. I think there are things that they could do to make me love it, and I think that they would be simple changes. The HUD, okay, whatever, I can get over that, but it's the controls mainly.
I'll kind of agree with you on the controls. Like, because now I think about it, like I don't know, like it didn't take me long to pick up what was going on, but there's a lot of stuff going on as far as like the control mechanism of the game and stuff like that. So I can understand where you're coming from on that, especially the stuff like riding the mountain stuff like that. Like I said, like I messed around the menus and stuff and basically streamlined it to how it feels to play for me. But this is also me, a guy who spent over 700 hours playing World and over 400 hours playing Rise, and stuff like that. So I kind of know my way around like the controller and the
Mhm.
controls and stuff like that, and I also know my way around the menu to like manipulate how things should run in control. But I get what you're saying because like the sacred, the sacred was like a slippery thing for me, like in doing some of the stuff like just making sure of like traversal and all that stuff.
Yeah. I feel like I had an easier time with World getting used to the controls, and now granted this was however many years ago at this point, but I had an easier time wrapping my head around the controls of World and Rise. And this was just like, what is happening? You know? So, and I even went back to Rise. I was like, are the controls like that in Rise? And they're not like that
No,
on at least on the Switch version.
no, Rise,
So,
no, Rise and World play very similar.
yeah.
And Wilds is similar but a departure from Generation 5 Monster Hunter because we're now once Monster Hunter Wilds releases we're in Generation 6.
Yeah. Um, well, I mean, I don't really have much else to say about it. I enjoyed it. I really think the quest stuff is cool, like where you can jump into other quests and fight with people. But I mean, that's kind of the point, I guess, of Monster Hunter at this point. So, um, uh, well, since we all kind of talked about Monster Hunter, Stephanie, what are you playing?
Unfortunately, not Monster Hunter, but that's okay. Knock a few easy ones off here. I beat Silent Hill 2. You've already heard me gush about it earlier, so I won't beat a dead horse. I'm still playing through Echoes of Wisdom. Nothing wrong with the game, but I am struggling to finish it with gamer ADHD because there's so many other games that have come out, is coming out, will be coming out. But one thing I do want to talk about a little bit is Gory Cuddly Carnage. I love that game. I didn't get it immediately because I pre-ordered the physical because you could be one of 10 people who win a golden ticket, and if you win a golden ticket, you get a custom gory skateboard board thing, which would have been cool. I obviously didn't get the golden ticket, but it's okay. Um, it's just so much fun. I am not your typical hack and slash fan. Not that I don't like hack and slash, but I get bored of hack and slash games pretty quickly. That's why you don't see me playing a lot of Dynasty Warriors, Hyrule Warriors games. But this one's got a lot of personality. It's definitely got a cyberpunk art aesthetic. It's very bright, neon colors. Um, it's a lot of comic book aesthetic in between actual gameplay. Very comic book like. And the writing is quippy. It's very inappropriate. It's hilarious. Lots of blood and gore. And it's just so ridiculous and insane. Like, you know that Angry Demon Studios isn't taking the concept seriously, which therefore makes it hilarious and fun. And it's just so satisfying just slicing up these undead zombie killer unicorns. And they have certain finisher moves. Like if you knock them down, you hit R1, and then you can have some sort of like almost like a fatality like finishing move. Um, and you go from level to level. And there's a little bit of story behind it. Don't want to, I want to save that for people to explore, but it is such a joy. I love playing it so much. I don't want to stop. It's a lot of fun. It gets the heart pumping. It's a feel good game, and it's one that I can pick up and put down at any time, which is refreshing because I've been on a lot of games that require you to pay regular and consistent attention, or else you'll forget what you're doing or what's going on. So
Nice.
I actually
I
drew for an art contest. I don't know who got announced the winner, but I drew a little a gory picture a while ago
Very
because I
You
nice.
should have
love.
won.
I know. Oh well, it's all good. That's what I've been playing.
Nice. Anybody else want to talk about what they've been playing? Um,
Well,
I
Same
don't
old,
really have
same
any.
old stuff for me. Besides Monster Hunter, it's the same old. Besides Monster Hunter Wilds, it's the same old stuff.
Yeah, I haven't really played a lot of new things. Well, I guess Black Ops 6 I played quite a bit of, but yeah, it's Call of Duty. Whatever. It's neat, but um and then the Destiny Rising Alpha I played. But I don't need to get into it here because we have a whole show dedicated to Destiny. All I can say is I wish there are things in Destiny Rising that I wish they would put in the real normal game. I don't want to say real game, but the real game. Um, like hero character campaigns, which is cool, and fill activities with bots when people leave. That'd be nice. Um, but I'll have more to say on that later.
Is that the mobile one?
Mm, yep, it's the mobile one.
Okay.
I played it with an Xbox controller. Plays just like Destiny, just on your phone or on a screen that mirrors your phone, which is what I did. Don't tell
I did
anybody.
the same thing with Nintendo Power Block. This reminded me of it, and I don't know why I overlooked it. Probably because I don't consider mobile games, even though they are games. I tried out the Pokemon trading card game Pocket. Anyone else here? But yeah, it's fun. It's definitely saves me money from spending it on real cards. So it kind of scratches that little itch, that dopamine hit twice a day where I can open up cards and see if I got like a special rare illustration. I haven't done the actual battling yet, but it's a nice simplified version that I think will draw in the more casual player. So
Nice. I thought about it, but I'm like, no, I already have enough games I'm addicted to. I should not. Should not. Oh, Pat, what else are you playing?
Well, I feel like I'd be doing us a disservice if I did not talk about the new Dragon Age game.
Yes,
Since
Dragon
it's only
Age.
been 10 years in the making, and we finally got it. And it is pretty freaking awesome. This
Nice.
game it is definitely a lot more actiony than the prior games have been. It comes down. There's a dodge button. There is a block button. There's your heavy attack, your light attack. Then you have a bunch of skills, but there's some there's some more strategic moments where you can actually like command your characters to be like use skills in a certain order, and sometimes these skills will combine and create a more what they call a detonation effect. So it's like you apply something and then you detonate it, and it just causes more massive damage to the enemies. Uh, but the game itself is absolutely gorgeous. I am stopping and like literally taking pictures of everything that I can like that just makes me go ooh and ah. Like the environments are super colorful. I got this thing for like very pretty um oh, sorry, you guys all look like you froze.
Nope,
Sorry.
I'm just listening.
Oh,
It's like holy crap, am I just talking? Sorry. Anyways, I got something for like really colorful environments, and one of the first places this game puts you in is an elven forest that's got so much color. The mist is like the mist and like this magical energy in the air is just rainbowish, and it's like just the draw distance on some of these like locations is just so gorgeous. Um, like it's probably one of the prettiest games I've seen on the system. What else? Um, it's got a very robust character creator, so you'll definitely spend a lot of time on those, creating a good character. I decided to go a very different route this time with my character. I've normally gone with an elf, but this time I decided, you know what, I'm going to be a dwarf. I'm going to be a dwarf that's, kind of straight down to the point. Rather than being more diplomatic, he's going to punch first before he asks questions. And I've been actually very much enjoying that route. The story involves a character from a previous Dragon Age. He's trying to open up a rift, and people think he's trying to destroy the world. But he explains what he's doing later. But it ends up releasing two evil elven gods who are now trying to break the rest of the barrier between their prison world and the actual world that you're in, and release a blight, which is basically your decay and like evil corruption all over the world.
mm-hmm.
Um, the dialogue has been punchy. Your character loves puns. There's this one part where like he sees this like hand of a giant statue, and he immediately shoots off three different puns. Like you got to hand it to the architecture, or like I bet like they had a real hand up on something. Like he, or I guess you could do she, you know. At least my character did a bunch of puns. I'm not sure how other character personalities work in this game. Like because when you create your character, not only do you get to create your race, you get to kind of put a backstory by choosing one of the factions that they kind of came off of before they joined this group of people who are strictly looking for Solus, the evil Dreadwolf god that they were chasing. But it's been a fantastic game. I absolutely love exploring these hub worlds. The game itself isn't open world. It's basically you go through a portal and you get a pretty big like map area that you can go around and explore and find treasures and solve little puzzles to get more like treasures. Or there's also a whole bunch of lore that you can find that's just so deep in this game. This I gotta say, BioWare did a great job with this. Like it's bringing them back. People keep saying back to form, but it's definitely a hell of a lot better than they've done in the last like decade of their games that they come out. So it's I think this is definitely a win for them for sure, and it's definitely a game that I feel like you should try out and not believe all the the negativity that's going on about certain woke factors, because believe it or not, this is a choice-based game, and you can choose not to have those conversations, or to have those conversations if that's what you want. It's completely in your control. The game's not forcing it on you. So,
It sounds I it sounds like something I really want to like play and dive into. Um Especially cuz I've never played a Dragon Age game, but I do have Inquisition.
mhm.
I acquired it somehow. I don't know how or where I acquired it from. I would like to play it at some point. I would also like to play this one because I hear a lot of great things about this one.
Yeah,
Um
I feel it's easy. This is a good easy entry point, even though like the game's connected to all the lore since game 1.
uh-huh.
But you can learn this through the various collectibles or lore things that you can find scattered throughout the world. But in terms of actually getting into combat and stuff, this game is not that difficult. Say Baldur's Gate-ish. Um, the custom customization of your character. I think once you choose what kind of class your character is, you get a skill tree, and then you just kind of build out, from your skill tree, and there's no chance or random die roll for this. It's based your choice.
Can you play this like a I mean, I know it's an action RPG, but can you play it like a kind of like I assume that different character classes allow you to play differently, right? But like is there a way to play as like a almost like a hack and slash or like a like a I don't want to use a sword and a shield or I don't want to be an archer or a mage. I want to use like, two small swords and just kind of wail on people.
I think it depends on the class that you get. Because I went with the warrior class. It made sense for a dwarf. And he either comes with a sword and shield or he comes with a two-handed weapon, which could be a hammer, or an axe.
Okay.
Yeah, so maybe one of the rogue classes could be bow and arrow or double knives.
Okay. So it's class based. Okay.
Yeah, it's class based. Once you choose your class, like the items you find in chests and stuff will be geared towards your class.
Okay. Cool. Cool. I I mean not to say this game is going to do well. I think it sounds like it's doing pretty well. I I I hope it does well enough to where it's not on the EA service in 6 months, right? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of the hope, right? Is that it kind of outlives that kind of 6 month window where they put the they start putting the games that don't sell well on that service, you know.
I hope so too, but given EA and unrealistic expectations,
Yeah.
I do feel though that they won't dissolve BioWare because it sounds like BioWare jumped immediately into Mass Effect 5.
Yeah, didn't they announce today that they are all hands on Mass Effect
Yeah,
now?
so that makes me think that EA is going to at least keep them around to finish that one before they get rid of
Mhm.
BioWare.
Yeah. I'm really excited for another Mass Effect game. It's been too long and I don't know. I miss Mass Effect. I miss when Mass Effect was like in the zeitgeist, you know.
Hmm.
I know it's always in the zeitgeist for you, LeRon, but
Yep, for real.
um, you know. Is there anything anybody else wants to hit on? Is there anything else about Dragon Age that we should touch on before we get out of here? It sounds like a great kind of return for BioWare. I mean, I think the Andromeda stuff was a little bit overblown in my opinion, but I felt so bad for them after Anthem, right? And I was like, oh my gosh, I hope whatever they do next just is
Hmm.
they knock it out of the park.
No, I mean, I've read this from another reviewer, but like Dragon Age was originally intended to be like a Destiny or like
Mm-hmm.
multiplayer, and they were able to take like those multiplayer elements and like string tie it back into a single player game. So people say the maps themselves feel like they were meant for more than like for multiplayer purposes. So it gives them kind of a credit for them to be able to like adjust to
Mm-hmm.
fit what actually people wanted.
Yeah. Good for them. It sounds like they at least have some sort of hit on their hand, and seems like it's doing well and people like it. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad BioWare is kind of back in a way. So, well, everyone, we did it. Another episode in the books. It's time to close that book and let everybody get some sleep. I want to thank everybody out there for watching or listening to this episode of the Boss Rush Podcast. Thank you for all of your questions. Thank you for listening and watching and subscribing and all the things. We wouldn't be here without you. And I appreciate everyone out there, and I appreciate all three of you as well, and
Aw.
and Ed
Thank you.
sometimes. He's not
Yeah.
here, but no, I do appreciate you guys showing up every week and being here, and you know it's fun. It's fun. So, anybody out there, if you want to support us, go to Patreon. Check out all of our content on bossrush.net, youtube.com/bossrush network. Thank you all so much for watching and listening, and until next time, we love you. Goodbye.
Bye.
If you want to see how you can become a Patreon producer, head on over to patreon.com/bossrushnetwork. The Patreon producers for this month are Adriel Munger, Austin Campbell, Celeste Roberts, Christian S., Sana Dierig, Francisco Santillan, Matthew Keel, and Todd Oxtra. Thanks for your continued support of the Boss Rush Network.